According to Adobe, that tracks e-commerce, $11.8 billion was spent online on Black Friday alone.
Here's another one. EJ. That's 45. Feel that back? 35 underneath. That's crazy.
Just so y'all know, the boycott is working. It is working. They don't want you to know that because that would scare.
I have come across a Black Friday scam like no other in my goals.
You know how I know the boycott is working? The media is working overdrive to make us believe that our boycott did not work.
Now, we've all seen the headlines. 11.8 billion in sales online during the Black Friday event. But why is no one talking about the inflation part? Okay, hold on. Someone is talking about the inflation part. Watch this.
Just so y'all know, the boycott is working. It is working. They don't want you to know that because that would scare them. So they have to make sure that we know, no, you guys, you failed at this. The reason I know this is working because they are talking about dollars spent and not items bought. Think about what's happened this year. We have had this situation going on with tariffs and inflation. And when you combine those two factors and then the amount of dollars spent, of course, there's more money being spent. You know what they're not reporting right now? In-store traffic nationwide was down. Not to mention, wait till we see the reports on excess inventory. That really kills companies in the long run. But this is going to prove that we did have an impact. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to get excited and gain momentum from this because that would hurt them in the long run. Because here's the truth, corporations are terrified of you realizing something very simple. If millions of people hesitate on spending money on one weekend alone, they're going to lose money in the long run. If millions of people shift even a fraction of their spending, they lose power. If millions learn that they can spend less and spend locally, the system cracks. This blackout made an impact. Do not let them convince you of anything different. Focus on data. Focus on the big picture. Do not look at the headlines they are trying to feed you. Your spending is leverage, and they are scared of you figuring that out. So keep it up.
So what are your thoughts on that? I'm going to read some of her comments because I think this is probably something that was very interesting to a lot of people. Let's take a look. Someone said, I made returns on Black Friday instead. I haven't shopped at Target since January 2025. I'll be extending my boycott indefinitely. Someone said, I work at a Fortune 10 company, and let me tell y'all, they are shaking in their boots in these quarterly earning calls. This boycott has shown me I can keep myself from spending. And that's something that we have to learn. A lot of things we have to unlearn, I should say. We are taught to be consumers. We are taught to spend. We are taught to, it starts with commercials when we're young. Mom, I want that. I want that. That's how they get us. It starts that way. They will lie to us. And they will. Someone said there's zero chance this boycott is not impacting big business. There is zero chance. And the numbers don't lie. We've seen Target's numbers go down. So I'm sure it has really impacted a lot of businesses. Somebody said record-breaking online sales. Sure. It's not illegal for them to lie to us. Do we take the numbers as they are? People say numbers don't lie, but people do. Right? Numbers don't lie, but people do. Now, I always say, even though a lot of us are boycotting certain stores and things like that, just make sure you are buying the necessities. I'm not saying don't spend your money. Of course, you ain't got to listen to me anyway, but do what you feel is right for yourself. There will be people who participate in the boycott, and there will be people who do not. It is what it is. Do what's best for you, that you feel is best for you. If it's something that you feel okay with doing, do you. I'm not telling you what to do at all. And like she said, of course, we can't always believe what we read. We can't always believe that they're going to say, okay, You guys did it. The boycott has impacted us. Please go back to shopping. They're not going to say that. The media is going to give you a story and run with it. Like that last person, not the last person, but in the comments of that previous video, the lady said, they are lying to us. Watch this.
You know how I know the boycott is working? The media is working overdrive to make us believe that our boycott did not work, that everybody is out spending a bunch of money. And I drove past stores today. You had parking everywhere. I've seen tons of creators on this app say they drove past all the regular stores, all the usual suspects. All of them were empty. I've only seen people really stand outside for that little swag bag. And a lot of people said they just left afterwards. So, which one is it? Be honest, how many of you actually went outside for Black Friday sales? Most people I knew decided to have actually small Thanksgiving dinners and just kind of opt out of shopping altogether because we are boycotting. But funny enough, all day today, all my algorithm has been about how, Black Friday percentages are expected to be good. Sales are supposed to be stronger than last year. That's all I've seen all day on my algorithm, all day. So I'm just waiting for them to release the data because I just know they're going to try to act like, oh, it was good. It was good. It was great. It was good. We're doing great. And then next year, when we see their profits for the last quarter, it's going to be a mess.
That's what you got to wait for. Next year's and next quarter's financials. Wait for that. Then we'll get the real answer. Those will be the real numbers. But, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. But people lie. It's called Spin City. They're going to spin it. They're going to say, oh, it was a success. Everything went well, so that you can fall for the trick and go back out there and say, well, I guess whatever we're doing is not working. So I might as well go on back to Target. I might as well go on back to Walmart. I might as well just go on out here and start overconsuming. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. So a lot of us are informed about the boycotts. But there's also some people who are not. Take a look at this.
Despite all the calls to boycott Black Friday this year, it appears that Black Friday was a huge success. According to Adobe, that tracks e-commerce, $11.8 billion was spent online on Black Friday alone. That's a 9% increase from years past. Now, if your feed looks anything like mine, you've seen people for weeks telling us to not participate in Black Friday. But also, if your feed looks anything like mine, you've seen all kinds of boycotts popping up. And I feel like we're all trying to walk the fine line between recognizing that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism and not wanting to actively support organizations and corporations that are funding fascism. And while I thought that the Black Friday boycott did a good job of organizing and communicating and educating what the purpose was, it seems like so many of the boycotts are playing whack-a-mole with corporations as news stories come up. And one of the questions I'm constantly coming back to in these conversations is, what is the objective?
What is the objective?
Because if the objective is collective action, one of the things I think we need to lean into more is education. Because oftentimes what I believe is happening is that you're seeing something on your feed that says, here are the actions of a particular corporation. And you and the people who've seen that post make a decision to boycott or to write letters, whatever it may be. The next step should then be to educate others on the subject. But what inevitably happens is the same algorithm that brought you that initial post is going to show you posts of people who probably don't even know about the news story you saw. And the response is ridicule. And let's be real. Shame is not an effective tactic. If it were, it might have worked at this point. But oftentimes shame just has people double down on the thing that they felt initially, whereas education can actually help them understand why a thing is happening. As I drove past the Mall of America leaving my parents' house on Friday and saw how packed it was, my first thought was, I thought we was boycotting. And then my second thought was, do they even know? And not to just absolve people, but it is very possible that people don't know if the information that we're receiving is purely algorithmic, because you didn't know until you saw a post. And having been on the receiving end of being somewhere that I didn't know that we were boycotting, it is a jarring experience to have people come at you for something you had no idea about. Because the truth is, sometimes I didn't even know that folks were boycotting or against something until I see folks going ham on someone under a post. Which makes me think that some people don't want collective action, they want collective outrage. If collective action is the goal, we have to lean into the tenet of education and ensure that as we're trying to get to certain goals, that we're informing and educating people on how we can get there together. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
And that was a good TED Talk. That was a good TED Talk, wasn't it? And he brought up the point. A lot of people are not informed. Maybe people don't have social media. Everybody doesn't have TikTok or YouTube or, anything. I'm sure, you know what? I'm thinking about it. I'm sure I have some older family members that know nothing about it. They're not on social media. Just because you know something doesn't mean the next person knows something. So you have to make other people aware and give them the information that is necessary. And also, like he had that little clip, what is the objective? Let them know what the objective is too. So I know he probably had some good comments. Let's take a look at those. Now, he did mention that the boycott was successful with the numbers that we have heard thus far. And one of the comments says the raw data shows that more money was spent, but fewer items were bought. And then the person says, you hope. Probably a troll under the bottom. You hope it was. I feel like y'all forgot that other people exist. Like, I talk to people who have zero social media, which means they don't know. So that person is co-signing what he just said. We have to inform others, make other people aware. I think the issue is that there are no alternative actions. Telling people not to buy stuff and to not have a meal and all these things isn't practical unless you give people an alternative action. My family stayed home and didn't buy anything, but people I talk to feel insignificant. To them, their one little purchase isn't enough to move the needle. But it isn't just their one little purchase, it's a collective one little purchase. So even though it may seem like you are not having an impact or making an impact, you really are. We are a collective. We are a collective of individuals. So if we're all doing the same thing, there is going to be an impact. You just might not see it right away, but you will hear it later. Let's see. Another one says, I didn't do any Black Friday shopping and I will not do Cyber Monday shopping. I only went grocery shopping today, which is Sunday. No holiday gifts this season, just family time. Can't make people boycott, but I'm doing my part. I've been boycotting Target and Hulu Disney before the blackout, so I'm glad to be a part of the holiday economic boycott as well. Necessities only. And I always stress that. Necessities only. And like this person said, they have already been doing this. This is something that they have already been doing. So, and I stress this also in the previous video where I talked about people boycotting Christmas. People are boycotting consumerism or capitalism, those types of things. It's not that they're necessarily boycotting the whole holiday. They are still, like she said, having family time. But they're also doing their part and making their voices heard with their wallets. Somebody said, that's why I'm boycotting all marketplace, thrifting, handmade, and local businesses for all gifts this year. So they're boycotting all those big box companies. I'm never going to stop doing my part. And that's the thing. You're doing your part if you are in it. Now, mind you, you might not even be worried about it. Individual choice. You have that freedom. Somebody said, this is why I hate group projects. I said that in college. I hated doing group projects because there was always going to be somebody not pulling their weight. I hate group projects. But I'm in this one. I'm in the collective. Somebody said, I'm curious to see the amount of items bought. My theory is that things are more expensive, so there's going to be a higher dollar amount spent, which makes sense. Somebody said parking lots were full. Our economy and culture centers individual consumerism. The desire to consume is programmed in us or into us. We have to deal with that first. And I talked about that earlier, how it's a learned behavior, consumerism, to buy now. It's on sale. It's on clearance. Get it now before it's gone. We've heard all of those slogans growing up with all the commercials and things like that. It creates a desire of wanting things. You just want it so bad. You have to have it because it's going to be the last on the shelf when you get there. Like my cornbread crisp at Trader Joe's. I was just talking about that. Look at my previous video. It's totally different. It's like a vloggy type video, but I'm talking about the power of influence. Take a look at that. That was consumerism. I was influenced to go to Trader Joe's and go buy some cornbread crisp. Somebody said, there are so many boycotts that it feels impossible to do the right thing and get it right. It feels like every place is being boycotted, and how are people supposed to live if they can't go to what they have access to? And that's another thing. A lot of people don't have access to all these other places to go to. They may live in a small town and all they have is a Walmart supercenter. That's what they're going to have to go to. There are some people who do not have the privilege, like they're saying here, the financial privilege to boycott, because they live in these rural areas and they only got one place to go. So that's understandable. And that's why when Walmart started to become really big, people were like, it's a monopoly. And here we are. Wasn't a failure for those who didn't participate. Correct. It wasn't a failure for those who didn't participate. That is correct. So if you didn't participate in Black Friday and you're hearing all these numbers and you feel like, oh, woe is me, I did all this and it's not, don't worry about it. You're still participating. Things are getting done. And the last one, you don't know the breakdown of small businesses versus the intended targets. Also, they didn't account for inflation like they normally do. I'm not falling for the numbers given. And like I said earlier, numbers don't lie, but people do. Who gave us those numbers? People. What are your thoughts on this overall subject? What do you think? We all have our own opinions, and I love to read them and respond to them in the comments. You know that. So finally, people are catching on that Black Friday is a scam. Now, for a lot of us, we know that Black Friday is not really a deal. We know that they jack up the prices to bring them on down. Where are the deals? The deals aren't the same. Watch this.
Here's another one. EJ. That's 45. Feel that back? 35 underneath. That's crazy. Way to Target. And it's multiple things. Here's another one. It says 35. $30. Oh, so dirty, Target.
Black Friday is a scam.
I have come across a Black Friday scam like no other in Michaels. I am an avid Michaels shopper and I know prices. And let me show you some crazy. I build winter villages, okay, with these houses. Okay, I know the price. It is $6.49. I'll include a picture. Now, these are 50% off today. So I thought I was going to come in here and get it for $3.20. No, $12.99. It cost more today than it usually does. Editing me bumping in here. What I meant is that it cost more on the Black Friday sale to buy it with the 50% off than it would to buy it on a regular day. Okay, we all hear about items being marked up on Black Friday. No, it was costing more to buy it with the 50% off than it would to buy it on a regular price the week before. Let me show you something else. Anything that's on sale on Black Friday today has had the tag removed. Anything that's not on sale hasn't had it removed, so it's only on these items that have had the tags removed. You ready for the most insane part? Price check? There used to be a price check here. Every single price check has been removed. I was here last week, they were here. Also, every year they have at least a 40% off one regular price item, but usually it even includes sale items on Black Friday. They had no coupons. You couldn't use any coupons on anything because then you catch them in the freaking act of all this.
Yeah, we know it's a scam. Black Friday is not even worth it anymore. I don't even know if it was worth it when I was doing it back in the day. Was it worth it then? Probably not. But yeah. Now let's take a look at her comments. I'm sure they will be interesting. Let's see. This is journalism. She was live reporting. I used to work at Michael's. This is 100% how they do it. Oh, that's terrible. Michael's will be holding hands with Joanne soon. If you know, you know. You know Joanne went bankrupt. This is why they want to delete TikTok in the US every 3 years. Given too much information. Michael's been real quiet since you posted this. Somebody said Black Friday is dead. We need to stop shopping, period. Oh, somebody gave an example. Bro, there was a laptop I've been wanting for months, but it was $1,500. So I wanted to wait till Black Friday to save some money. On Black Friday, they said the normal price was $2,000 and had it marked down for $1,600. This is where that increase in sales came from, or the increase in price and spending, because the prices went up for Black Friday. No deals, no real deals, but somebody said Michael's thinks the same of their customers as the Campbell's Soup executive. Terrible. Removing the price check is beyond. Yes, we want to know what the price is ringing up before we get to the register. You can't take that away. They absolutely raise the prices at Michael's. That's why 90% of the store is on sale year round. And that makes sense. How else they gonna make a profit? It's a company. They need profit in order to, sustain their company. Of course the prices are jacked up. Whew. So since I talked about Black Friday prior to Black Friday happening, I wanted to make sure that I reported on Black Friday afterwards. And here we are. So what do you think? Do you think Black Friday is a scam? Did you find some deals? Were you out there? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.